My name is George Farah, aka Snakecharmer from Snakecharmer Choppers. Well, I grew up in Bathurst, as a little country town. That there, back in the 80s, it was for being as a Lebanese, and there was a lot of Australians there as well. There was a couple of Aboriginal families as well. There was us and another Lebanese family, and then we were bullied, called wogs, grease monkeys, camel riders, and just, nasty names. So then, again, we had to learn to defend ourselves, again. So my dad sent me to boxing to police boys. So I started boxing, then I started doing martial arts at the age of, I think it was like 6. Just learned to defend myself. Then when I got to high school, I protected my brothers and my sister at the time. And I didn't like people getting bullied, like the fat guys, when they're overweight, they get picked on. And people that wear these fat glasses, they get picked on. So I protected them in that sense. So I was just there to protect them at the time. And then me and my younger brother went through a bush, and we found a little marijuana crop. As you do as a kid running around. So we found it, and we knew what it was, but we didn't know what it was. In other words, we were taking the leaves off instead of me knowing what it is now. And we were selling it. So I got done for selling drugs at school at the time. I think it was about 15, 16. My mum had to come with me to court. I got charged for that. That was my first drug charge ever. And then, then I just got into a lot of fights at school, got expelled from every school. And then after that, I actually got escorted from Bathurst. I got told to leave Bathurst. Otherwise, throw the book at you. So my dad found me an apprenticeship down here in Sydney. Lived in Auburn for about 1.5 years. And then my dad then moved me to Mount Druitt, bought a house. I think back in the day it was like 75,000. It was very cheap back then. So I lived there, started doing panel beating and spray painting, and that's what I do. I'm a panel beater and spray painter by trade as well. So I started doing cut and shuts and fixing cars and selling cars. Back in the day there was Tiranas, HQs, all the expensive old models. But that's and then that's it. Then from there, as you know, Mount Druitt in the 80s was pretty full on, and I got caught up in the crime. Got caught up in, allegedly there's things I can say and things I can't say, but, for instance, I learned from especially, getting pulled up by the police, the cops basically, and, I used to tell them, F this, F that, swear at them and everything, well, fucking, who are you, you know what I mean? I thought I was untouchable. That's at a young age, you know what I mean? When you're young, you got a chip on your shoulder. So I said to the cops, what do you want? What do you want from me now? So I'd get out, bridge up to them, they'd handcuff me and take me in. I'd get charged for swearing or refusing arrest or whatever it was, right? So now I've learned now that you can't carry on like that. Basically, you got to say yes sir, no sir, basically. As you see on social media, people get filmed getting bashed by cops, hit by cops, trod on. Well, you know what I mean? So you can't win. So the way I look at it now, I'm trying to teach the young generation that where I've been in life from a young age to where I was, and yes, I was in the Bandidos as a Sergeant of Arms of Northside Chapter, and I joined that at the age of 22. Well, the Bandidos was a massive brotherhood, and like I said to people before, what I did and got caught with, manufacturing, and they got us for firearms as well, but allegedly they're saying they're our firearms, but unfortunately we were never charged with firearms. I pleaded guilty to not only take part in the manufacture, which I pleaded guilty. Now, like I said to everyone before, if you join a club, it's like a family, right? So if your family, if there's one bad fish in it that's out committing crime or being, a druggo or committing crime every day, you can't make the whole family that they're pictured as the whole you know, under the same banner, do you know what I mean? And it's the same as me. What I did was, my crime and what I was doing in life had nothing to do with the club. That was on my own accord. So I tell everyone the same thing. If anything, the club helped me, and the club stopped me from doing a lot of stupid things. They actually saved me from a lot of things, and I tell everyone the same thing. So I do thank the Bandidos for what they've done for me, and supported me. And even when I was in prison, they were there for me as well. They supported my family as well, and supported my mum when she was going through tough times. So yeah, I don't regret one day or 1 minute being in the club. And like I said, the club didn't put me in there. I was doing all this stuff before. You know, from when I went to Mount Druitt into that racketeering and all the crap that we were doing. So basically, the club done me a favour. You know, when you're winning that game, for instance, it's like you're really watching your back every day, you know what I mean? Like, you're not worried about getting robbed or raided by the police or whatever it is, but basically it's about people that want to get you, or if you're up here in the drug world and you're down here and you work your way up, they'll want to try and take you down. Then the next person will come up and try and bring you down. So basically what I tell the young generation as well, that there's always going to be someone bigger and better. There's always going to be someone that's hungrier, you know what I mean? So all these people that want to come up here, you'll always be brought down. And as you can see it around the world, not just in Sydney, but everywhere, you'll see the big honchos, they end up getting got. And I thank God today that I'm still alive to tell the story and to be where I am today. Like, I've got slash wounds, stab wounds, and you know, it's not a life you want to live. And that's why I said before that for me to be alive today, to tell the story and to tell the young generation that, do you want to live that life? I'm not telling everyone not to join a gang. I'm not saying that, but you got to be realizing that if you join that, you have to be loyal, respectful, and then you got to be ready to go to prison or ready to die. You can't be a snitch or a rat, whatever you want to call it, because 90% of them want to go and do the big crimes, then they go and roll on the rest of them. It doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? It doesn't work like that. So this is why I'm saying that. That's why a lot of people have respect for me, because at the end of the day, anything I've done with them or spoken about, they know it'll never leak out of me. I'll take it to my grave. And that's why I have respect from a lot of people, from thousands of people. And that's the way I want to keep it. We're here to teach the young generation that, you know, crime doesn't really pay, especially if you go to prison. You just got to learn about respect as well, which the young generation doesn't speak about respect. I know it's hard because it's a different generation, different era to where we are. But if you see some of my social media as well, there's a lot of the young generation send me, and they love what I do and they listen, and I have rehabilitated probably hundreds. There's hundreds of males that come in every day. So I know that I'm setting an example out there. Well, prison, as you know, a lot of people glorify prison. Prison's not a good place to be. I've learnt from, you know, being inside prison that, you got the Asians, you got the Islanders, you got the Lebanese, and then you've got the Aboriginals. Like, they're all separated. But you've got the Asians with the Islanders, and then you've got the Aboriginals with the Lebanese. For me, I wasn't like that. I didn't stick there with one race. I got along with it. I had a cellie as was an Asian, had a cellie as an Islander, an Aboriginal, and a Lebanese. So basically, I didn't look at it that way. And a lot of people didn't like it, but I got along with every race. Because I respected every race and every religion, it didn't matter for me. And that's why I got along with everyone in there. Now, you know, even when I was a Bathurst, I tripped this officer over when he was running to the main yard because there was a brawl or a fight or a stabbing in the yard. And when I tripped him over, he says, "I'm coming back for you, right?" So when they've got me, dragged me into Segro, and then there's a guy over the other side of the wall, says, "Bruz," he goes, "You got a cigarette?" I said, "I don't smoke." He goes, I'm hungry. And I just wanted to get up there and reach up and see, you know, who it is. And he's there with a toothpaste, you know the toothpaste? He's actually eating the toothpaste to stop his hunger. So I just got some bread and whatever I had, you know, I had a couple of Tim Tams and I passed them over to him for him to eat, and he was happy. And he said to me, listen, he goes, make sure you jam a toothbrush in your Segro door, because when the squad comes in, they're gonna flog you, you know that, eh? Because I tripped the officer over. So anyway, I done it. I jammed the Segro door. So after I've helped him doing that, you know, he respected that as well. Now, when I got called back into the office, when the squad came to come in, they said, look, you're going to be tipped to another prison. We don't know who you are or who you think you are, but because I respected the other inmates, they were actually almost going to burn down the prison. Bathurst prison was starting to be a riot. Now, I'm Lebanese, they're Aboriginal, right? But because I showed them respect and I helped a lot of them in there as well, so for me to respect them, they actually were going to tear down the prison to get me out of Segro. So the Aboriginal delegate came to my cell and said, look, we're going to get you out of here. Then they took me into the office and says, we don't know who you are, but who are you? I'm nobody. This is my first time in prison. Because I showed them respect, I got a lot of respect back. And that's where I learned my experience, that in prison, even if you are in there, learn to have respect for people. Doesn't matter what race or religion you are. So don't think because he's white or he's black or he's purple or blue. Respect every race and every religion and show love and support to everyone, and you'll get it back. And for me to do that in the prison system, that's never happened. That's never ever happened for a riot, especially a Lebanese guy, to be in an Aboriginal prison to get that happen. They started burning the bins. They're still going to start burning beds, shaking the fences. That's crazy. It's not a place to be, man. I don't recommend it to anyone. And I tell a lot of the young generation, they all think it's cool. It's not cool. You know, you can't just go and open your fridge door to go get a drink. If you're locked in that cell for so many hours a day, especially in maximum, you know, you can't go and get, you know, you can't go down the shop and, you know, you might not have cigarettes, you might not have food, drink. It's not as easy as, you know, you can just get up and open the fridge. That's something that you will get adapt to eventually. But, you know, lucky there's other inmates that are in there that help each other by throwing a string under the door, by the fishing line. But, you know, is that the life you really want to live?